What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Life After Lockup Season 4, Episode 48, Love Isn't Enough. So let's get started with Monique and Derek. So in last week's episode, after Derek arrived in Chicago, him and Monique got into a really big fight over his phone. She always gets suspicious when his phone goes off and he doesn't want to tell her who's calling him or texting him. He doesn't want to show her his phone. So they got into a fight and he was forced to sleep in the basement. So the next morning, Derek wants to make it right for his woman. So he gets up early. He makes her favorite breakfast, which is, I guess, pancakes with strawberries and whipped cream. He's got the candles laid out. He pulled out the flowers that she threw away. He pulled them out of the trash. He spread out the petals everywhere, making it look really nice and romantic. He gets her from her bedroom, brings her downstairs, and she likes the setup. He feeds her, etc., etc. And, you know, she's happy and she wants to go back to the way things were with them. But she still has an issue with this damn phone. So she brings up the phone situation and she tells him, you know, I saw girls, you know, they were sending you pictures of their boobs. And he says, Monique, that's just in my DMs. That's not like girls that I know in real life sending me pictures. This is all in my DMs, you know, where any random stranger can go in and send whatever they want. And, you know, it's not just boobs. They send me full nudes and all this and that. So then she says, well, who is Steph? Who's Steph? Because there's a number saved under the name of Steph. And he's like, that's just my homeboy. So he calls the number and a dude answers. So it is his homeboy, or so he says. You never know with Derek. And I completely forgot that Derek has about 15 phones. And so whatever phone she thinks is okay, there's like 15 other phones that are probably not okay. So, you know, next thing you know, Monique, she's happy again. She feels a little bit more reassured now. And so she's laughing and she's giggling and everything is right in the world of Monique and Derek. So Derek says that he is in love with Monique and he still wants to make Monique his wife. And we know that he already bought her a ring. So we're still waiting with bated breath of when he's going to pop the damn question. Now we know that when Derek arrived in Chicago, he wanted to, you know, have a good time. He wanted to hit the clubs. And at first Monique didn't want to, but this particular day, I guess she was in the mood because the next time that we see them, they're in the club. So they're in the club and they're sitting down, you know, lounging, whatever. And the bottle girl comes and she brings them drinks. And I guess Monique felt like she was lingering a little bit too long around Derek. And so she expeditiously shooed the girl away. And then Monique and Derek were trying to take a selfie together. And then the girl came back and wanted to be in the picture with them. And Monique was like, no, you're not going to be in the picture, but you will take this picture of us. Then the next thing we know, Derek has to go to the bathroom. So he gets up and he goes into the bathroom. And then the next shot that we see is the bottle girl walking towards somewhere. We don't know exactly where she's walking to, but because we just saw Derek go into the bathroom and now we see her walking, the producers want us to think that she followed him into the bathroom. And then we see Monique sitting there by herself on the couch looking like a lump on a log on her phone. That girl stays on her damn phone. I mean, she always gets on his case about being on the phone. This girl stays on her phone, and I'm pretty sure she's on the phone on social media, reading the comments, probably going back and forth with his damn sisters. And it's like, girl, can you put that phone down for 1 minute? That girl stays on that damn phone. So, you know, they show us a shot of Monique sitting by herself. And I guess we're supposed to assume that Derek and the bottle girl are in the bathroom together because we hear Derek's voice in the bathroom. And it's like, okay, you're in the bathroom. Who could you possibly be talking to? Monique is on the couch. The girl looked like she was walking towards something. So is it the girl in the bathroom with him? Is that what they want us to think? But this whole club scene to me was very stagey. It seemed extremely stagey. It didn't seem natural at all. There were times when I felt like Monique and Derek, their conversation was kind of like choppy or halted a little bit. It didn't really flow, as if they were waiting for the bottle girl to, you know, to take her cue and to show up in the scene and to do what she needed. It just seemed, the whole scene to me in the club didn't seem natural at all. It seemed really stagey. I remember the time when this show was really about people who were released from prison and who are really trying to, fit back into society and get their lives together and get off drugs and get off alcohol and find a job and try to make a life with their significant others. Now it's about these men coming out of prison or these women coming out of prison. Someone is there to take care of them. And it just becomes like a soap opera, or like Love and Hip Hop, or Prison and Hip Hop, Prison and Love, or whatever it is, where it's just about like all this drama with a relation. And I understand that this does happen in real life, but the reason why I liked the show to begin with was because I liked to see people come out of prison trying to get their lives back together. And all this drama with the relationships was just like, it was just like a side thing, like a side story. But the main story was watching these people trying to get their lives back together. And now it's not even about that. Like Derek, what is he doing to get his life back together? Nothing, because he's got Monique to take care of him. And it's just about Derek and Monique, and that's fine. But I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with Derek and Monique having a spinoff of their own show about their ups and downs, of their relationship. That's fine. But I mean, Derek really isn't doing the things that you would expect an ex-prisoner to do, like trying to find a job, trying to find a place to live. He's got his big mom taking care of him. He's got Monique taking care of him. And so the Derek and Monique story is the least Love After Lockup type of story that they have this season. But, we'll see what happens. Like I said, the club scene seemed really stagey, fake, forced, phony. I seriously doubt that girl went into the bathroom with him, because I'm pretty sure Derek knows better, and he's not going to do that with the cameras being there and he's all mic'd up. And it probably was nobody, or it probably was, we're going to find out later that they made it look like Monique was sitting on the couch by herself, but at some point she probably followed him into the bathroom, and they made it do what it do in the bathroom. Moving on to Sean and Sarah. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not done with Derek and Monique. Okay, so the next day, they are back at the house and they're getting ready for her sisters to come over. So they're trying to clean up. The sisters come over, and as soon as they arrive, they're like, Derek, what about your sisters? Aren't they supposed to be coming too? And Derek was like, no, my sisters aren't coming down to Chicago. And so one of Monique's sisters says, well, they told me on social media, here we go again. They told me on social media that they were coming by. They're going to be stopping by. And Derek was like, don't pay that no mind. My sisters ain't coming. Next thing we hear is on the front door. Like, okay, who the hell could that be? Are those Derek's sisters? Are we going to have Rumble in the Jungle Part 2? If y'all are going to fight again, I'm going to need y'all to tie up y'all's hair, or just take your wigs off. Cut your nails down, please, or take them off. And then, please protect yourselves if y'all are going to be fighting again. Don't be out there with these long weaves and wigs and these super 6-inch long nails getting all bloodied up. I don't want to see that. If y'all are going to fight, be ready for the fight. Moving on to Sean and Sarah. So Sean, him and Sarah are having a conversation. She just confessed to him that she's been taking her daughter Abby to go see her real dad, Anthony. And so Sean acts like he's really brokenhearted. And he's like, oh, I had plans to adopt Abby. Well, I guess that's not going to happen anymore because her father's back in her life. And I'm thinking to myself, Sean, you are going to adopt Abby? Okay, first of all, Abby does have her own father. Her father, he's going through some struggles, but she does have her own father. And you got 5 kids that you don't pay any attention to. But you want to adopt Abby? Sean, get out of here. So Sarah says that she does plan on telling Abby that Anthony is her real father. Sarah also wants Sean himself to meet Anthony. And at first, Sean was like, nope, that's not going to happen. But then I guess he thought about it, because he's got to have a scene and he's got to, keep these Love After Lockup checks coming in. So then he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll think about meeting him. So the next time that we see them, they're meeting Anthony. So when I saw Anthony, first of all, they're meeting at the park. Abby is still in school because Sarah said that she wanted to talk to Anthony first to make sure that he was okay with everybody meeting together with Abby. So they meet up with Anthony, and Sean comes out and they're walking towards him. And Anthony's like, when I saw Sean, I was like, who the hell is this? He looked like a really old man. And so I'm thinking to myself, Sarah, you must really, really, really be in love with Sean to stay with Sean over Anthony. Now, I know Anthony's got his issues, but Sean has issues too. Okay, his issues may not be addiction. His issues are something else completely. But I'm looking at Anthony and I'm looking at Sean and I'm like, Sarah, you must be head over heels in love with Sean, because it would not take much, I think, for the average woman to probably run back to Anthony. And she did say herself that Anthony was her first true love. You know, unfortunately, drugs got in the way of their relationship, and murder, because she killed somebody and went to prison. And so, I just don't understand. I mean, Anthony is taller, he's more fit, he's younger. For her to resist Anthony and to stick with Sean, she must be in love. So when the two men first meet, Anthony offers his hand to shake, and Sean completely ignores it because he's trying to play Mr. Tough Guy. And Sean wants to get to the nitty gritty. He wants to know, why are you so interested in Abby now after all these years? And Anthony says, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I'm trying to get back with Sarah. Like, I'm using my daughter to get back with Sarah. And Sean says that he was blindsided by all of this. Like, you know, Sarah just dropped the news on him the day before. Anthony says, look, I'm just here for my daughter. I'm not here for Sarah. I'm just here for Abby. Sean says, well, I hope that you do right by Abby. I hope, you know, you're not going to disappear again. You're going to not disappoint her again, etc., etc. So then, I don't know what happened. I think, Sean left and he went to go sit in his car, and it was just Anthony and Sarah talking. And, I forgot what they were talking about. It really doesn't matter. So then, Sean comes back, and Anthony thought that Sean was coming back with, you know, hostility. So Anthony was ready, but instead Sean came back to apologize. He goes, look, I'm really sorry on how we started off. And so then he offers his hand to shake. Anthony goes ahead. He obliges. He shakes Sean's hand, but he's still very salty that Sean didn't shake his hand initially. And that's what they were talking about. He was talking to Sarah about how disrespectful it was for Sean not to shake his hand. And so Anthony tells Sean that, you know, okay, fine, cool, whatever, I accept your apology, but, you know, it was very rude and disrespectful of you to not shake my hand when I first offered it. So Sean is still feeling very insecure about the fact that Anthony is back in Abby and Sarah's life. And so I'm just like, and then on top of that, it didn't make it any better when Anthony said that if he wanted Sarah back, there's nothing anybody can do to stop him. And I think he probably knows. Maybe Sarah still got a thing for him. I don't know. But Anthony has a lot of confidence. Sean has no confidence that Sarah will stay with him. Anthony has a lot of confidence that Sarah could easily come back to him. Now, she's not a piece of property. You know, she's going to make up her own mind with who she wants to be with and what she wants to do with her life. But Sarah, girl, honey, I just don't know how you can pick a Sean over an Anthony. But let's move on to Michael and Justine. We're still in Las Vegas. And I'm looking at, they're walking on the strip or something. And I'm looking at Michael's chain. And it is blinged out. It looks like it weighs about 5 pounds of platinum and diamonds. And I'm thinking, did he always have this chain? How come I'm just not noticing his chain? Because it was just razzle dazzle, sparkle sparkle on his neck. But anywho, so they're having a conversation. They're talking about what Mocha wanted, which is Mocha wants Anthony, excuse me, Mocha wants, I got Anthony on my mind, y'all. Mocha wants Michael to present to the world that he is a bachelor, he's single, ready to mingle with the ladies, because that's going to make him more marketable. So he can't wear his wedding ring. He's got to take down his pictures of his family on social media. He can't make it look like he has a wife, etc., etc. And when he was meeting with Mocha, he acted like he was really considering this. And then when he's talking to Justine on the bridge, he's like, well, you know, blah, 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 I got to do what I got to do. And this is just, you know, for my career, make money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm really so he's making it seem as if he's really considering doing what Mocha said. Well, the next time that we see them, He's like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Because, Justine gave him this sob story about, I'm so worried that you're going to leave me like the way you left the other mothers of your children. Once you start acting like you're single and living this pseudo single life just for your career, I'm never going to see you again. I'm going to be a single mom raising your child. And then Justine tells us that Mike not being in his children's lives, a lot of that has nothing to do with prison. Yes, he was away from them when he was locked up, but before he was locked up, he was still away from his children. He still had nothing to do with his own kids before he was even locked up. So she's worried that he's going to do to her what he did to his exes. And all I can say is, if her and Mike make it, it's because of this show. If it wasn't for this show, I seriously doubt that. Anyways, I'm moving on. So, she tells him this sob story about, I'm so worried that you're going to leave me. I'm going to be a single mom again. Da, 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 da. You're going to do to me what all these other men have done to me. So that gave him a change of heart if he ever needed one. I don't think he ever planned to do what Mocha wanted him to do. So he tells her, you know what? I'm not going to do what Mocha wants. I'm going to keep my wedding ring on. This ring will never leave my finger. I'm going to let the whole world know that and I'm thinking to myself, why are we even talking about this? This whole entire concept of Mocha wanting Michael to present himself as a single is so stupid to me. Back in the day, like in the 1930s and the 1940s and 50s, the Hollywood machine would make sure that the actors presented themselves as very wholesome people. The Hollywood machine would create these personas for these actors. Like if they wanted someone to appear like Susie Homemaker instead of like a Jezebel or instead of like a whore, they would work on her image and work on how she presented herself. If they wanted a man who they knew probably was homosexual, they made sure that he presented himself as straight so he can be appealing to the women and the men wouldn't be threatened by him or whatever. So the Hollywood machine was really big on making people appear a certain way, like Rock Hudson. I think everybody knew that Rock Hudson was a homosexual behind the scenes, but they presented him as a straight man. And maybe there were women who were divorced, but they wanted to present them as being pure and virginal and innocent. Let's not talk about the fact that she used to be married and she has an ex-husband out there. Let's pay off the ex-husband and make him disappear, and we're going to let the world know that she's never been married or whatever. These fake personas to make them more marketable, more appealing to the audience. We're not living in those ages. Who cares if Montana Mills is married? Especially with the way these women are nowadays. They don't give a damn about him being married. If they want to lust after Montana Mills and they want to try to have a chance with him, they're going to do it. They don't care that he's married. They don't care about that. Okay, Smoker, I don't know what decade you're living in, but nobody cares about these people being married, having children, having pregnant wives. That doesn't matter. It's either all about the music, or the women are still going to lust after them if they want to lust after them regardless. Okay. I'm sorry. Nobody cares about that. I'm pretty sure these rappers who do have wives and girlfriends get plenty of attention in their DMs. Everybody knows that Derek is with Monique. Nobody cares. They're still sending him nudes and trying to get with him. I mean, he's not a rapper or anything, but he's, a TV star. Nobody cares about that, Mocha. Stop pressuring this man to erase his whole entire family because you think it's going to sell more albums. So then they're thinking about, and Justine really wants to live in Las Vegas. Mike really hasn't made up his mind. He's thinking about Texas, thinking about Vegas, but I think Justine really wants to stay in Vegas. And so they want to go look at houses. So Montana Mills tells us that he has a budget of $600,000 for a home. And the first house they look at is 1.9 million. And so I don't even know what the point of those real estate agents were. I mean, they showed up for like 3 seconds and then they left. They would have known the price of the house just by looking at realtor.com or whatever. I don't even know why those two people made an appearance. So the house is nice. Justine loves it. She wants, this is the house that she wants. It's got a pool in the back. It's spacious, blah, 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 4,600 square feet. And Mike is like, this is way beyond our budget. And I'm thinking to myself, I know you're selling shoes and you're trying to get your music career started and you're living on a hope and a dream. How do you have a budget to afford a one? Why does Justine think that you have a budget to afford a 1.9 million home? And y'all got about 35 kids between the two of you and expecting your 36th. What? I'm not understanding. I've never heard of a Montana Mills before now. Before I started watching this show. There are people like on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, or even just your real life artists, musicians, rappers, whatever, that cannot afford a $1.9 million home. Who is giving Montana Mills? Is Mocha giving him, what do they call it? When you sign a contract and the lump sum that they give you in the beginning, is that what they're gonna use? Is Mocha gonna give him a couple of mil that you can go spend on this damn house? Is that going to be his signing bonus from Mocha? Like, what's going on? I don't understand. Moving on to Amber and Puppy. So Amber and Puppy, they arrive at Amber's house. Puppy's very worried of whether or not TC is going to accept her in his home. So they come in. Puppy didn't even greet the damn man. And the man was like, when you walk into someone's house, you got to say something to him, whatever. So, so Puppy comes in and, she talks to TC and she's very shy and very timid. And she's like, oh, thank you so much for allowing me in your home. I really do appreciate it. Okay. So Amber leaves the two of them alone. And so TC tells Puppy, look, I'm okay with you. You're always welcomed in my home. It's no big deal. Just, relax, please. And so they talk about Amber. They talk about her wanting to start this bar business. And both Puppy and TC agree it is not a good idea for Amber to go into the bar business because she's a raging alcoholic. So they're both are like, no, that's not a good look for her. So then Amber comes back, and I don't know what Amber did when she was gone, but she came back guns blazing. And so all of a sudden, I don't even know how it started. She confronts TC about how he was not supportive when she went through her pregnancy and the termination of her pregnancy. He saw what she was going through, how she was struggling emotionally because she wanted the baby but couldn't have the baby. She had to make a very, very difficult decision, and he was just MIA. He didn't comfort her. He wasn't there by her side. She said she had to go to to get her procedure done without him. He should have been there with her, whether he agreed with her decision or not. As her man, he should have been there to support her. She needed his support. So she's like going in on him. She's yelling, she's screaming, she's cussing, she's crying, and he's just like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm not used to all these emotions. It's just been me and my boys for the past 15 years. I'm not used to all this estrogen. I don't know what's going on. And so Puppy's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Oh my God, Amber, TC, I don't know. Acting like she's their child and she's stuck in the middle of her mom and dad arguing. So Amber storms away and Puppy tells TC, you have to go out there and comfort her. And he's just like, I don't know what to do. This is an emotional woman. I don't know what the hell's going on. And so Puppy has to go out there and she has to comfort Amber. Now Puppy's crying. And I thought, I had so much hope for this episode that Puppy was going to be able to get through it with dry eyes. She couldn't make it. I swear to God, every single episode that I've ever seen Puppy in, she ends up crying, or she starts off crying, or she's crying somewhere in the middle. Because I thought to myself, okay, there's no Eric. TC has accepted her into his home. It seems like her and Amber are good. There is no reason why she should be crying. But because mommy and daddy got into an argument, it rattled her, it shook her. Next thing you know, the tears are just flowing from Puppy's eyes. And I was like, God damn, this was we were so close. We were so close. And of course, TC, go support your woman. This is your woman, TC. Like, what is wrong with you? You don't have to say much, but just go give her a hug, go hold her, go rub on her shoulder or something. Don't just stay in there away from her and she's having this, huge emotional breakdown. Moving on to Chance and Taylor. Okay, so what's her name? Robbie comes over. No, Bobby. Bobby comes over and to spend time with Taylor and to take her out. And Chance was like, so what are y'all going to be getting into? Where are y'all going? What are y'all going to be doing? And I loved it when Taylor said, none of your business. So she leaves him with the kids. She does take the baby with her. So her and her sister go out to a restaurant and she tells her sister about all the stuff that her and Chance have been going through. Him talking to the women and texting these women and, women that he's known for a long time, whatever, just communicating with women. And Bobby's like, you know what? You're going to have to cut him loose. And Taylor's like, oh, but I still love him and I want to make it work. And, I still love him. And Bobby says, sometimes love isn't enough. Hell to the yes to that. Love is not enough a lot of the times. So Bobby thinks that Taylor should just break up with Chance and move on. And Taylor wants to stay and she wants to work it out. So the next day, Chance makes it look like he's going to work because he still hasn't told Taylor that he lost his job. So he has to pretend like he's going to work. And I guess he got a job delivering groceries or something. And Taylor keeps, she tracks him on her phone. And so she realized that he wasn't where he was supposed to be because he's not at his job. He's all over the place because he's delivering groceries and she doesn't know that. So she's kind of suspicious on where the hell he's at. Then we see Chance. He's communicating with somebody on the phone, a female, and they're making arrangements to meet at 7:00 somewhere. And so that's where he ends up for the evening. And so she tells her sister and her sister's like, well, let's go see what's up. So their scene ends when Taylor and Bobby are chasing him down to wherever the hell he's at. And he's in a bar. We see him in a bar sitting next to some woman. And in true 90 Day fashion, they want us to think that, he's on some date with some chick, mic'd up with cameras there. But it's probably somebody that he's probably talking to for a job or about a job or something. Because I think the lady had a folder in her hand. And I don't think you're going to bring a folder with you if you're on a date. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure it's absolutely nothing. Moving on to Blaine and Lindsay. I really don't want to talk about Blaine and Lindsay because Lindsay to me she's just too over the top. She's just way too much for me. Okay, so Lindsay's having a damn breakdown. She's punching the damn door of the garage because life is hard. And she can't take it anymore. Her man ain't working. It's all on her. She has to pay all the bills. She's the only source of income. And she just can't take it. Her daughter's acting up. And everything is just too much. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, Lindsay, life is extremely hard when you're not scamming a simp and an old rich man. Life is very, very hard when you have to be independent and responsible. And you don't have simps and the elderly taking care of you. So she calls her sponsor for support, and her sponsor tells her, well, you're going to have to probably take a break and make time for yourself because you're on the edge of a damn nervous breakdown. So Blaine and Lindsay get into it. Lindsay confronts Blaine about how, I'm doing it all by myself and you're not helping, blah, blah, blah. You're not pulling your weight. And Lindsay says in her confessional that she wants Blaine to admit that, yes, you are paying all the bills. Yes, you're taking care of everything financially, and I'm not doing a damn thing. She wants him to admit that. But he's a man. He's not going to admit that at all, that his woman is taking care of him and he's a failure. He's not going to admit that. And the whole job thing is, I'm thinking, just temporary because I think he does construction and because of the weather or something, it's been down, but he'll go back to work, I'm assuming. So Blaine in his confessional, he's had it with Lindsay and her craziness. And he's like, she's just being a whining bitch. And so he packs his stuff and he's out the door. And she follows him out the door. And she's like, you better not take any of my cars or I'm going to report it stolen. And you'll be back in prison before the sun comes up. So he's walking off into the woods, into the darkness. We hear a car start, but it was nothing happened. He didn't drive off with her car. He comes right back into the house. And He comes back in. Then Lindsay leaves. So she's in her car and she's taken off. So she's upset. And Blaine calls her and he's like begging her to come back home. Like, Lindsay, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. Please come back. I love you. And she's just like, So he's like literally pouring his heart out to this girl, you know, like an ugly cry, right? It's like an ugly cry. And he's like, Lindsay, I love you. Just come back. And she's like, I gotta go. And she hung up the phone. Lindsay's a tough cookie. Lindsay wants to go look for an old man or a simp like Devontae, whatever his name was, to take care of her, because the way life is right now, like the way that we all live it, where we have to go to work and pay our own bills, and you know, it's just not for her. She wants to go back to scamming. Brittany and Marcelino. So Brittany and Marcelino, they're doing better. They had a talk, whatever. They're fine. Brittany and Marcelino will always be fine. Okay, because they are reality TV vets. They will always be okay. They know when to play it up and they know when to bring it back down. So they're fine. They talked about their issues, whatever. And Marcelino's going to have a talk with their oldest son, which is not Marcelino's biological child, but Marcelino's practically raised him. So he's taking a walk with the little boy because the little boy has been very worried and having a lot of anxiety because he sees his parents fighting. And so Marcelino has a conversation with them and tells them, hey, it's going to be okay. Mom and dad, you know, we just have our ups and downs. And so the little boy says, well, to make it better, why don't you, what did he say? Get married again? Because the last time that they were really happy, as far as he can remember, was when they got married. And, but he looked like practically a baby when they got married. I'm like, boy, how do you remember that? And so he says, y'all need to get married again, or whatever he said. So I'm pretty sure, you know, that's probably, we're going to see them renew their damn vows. I'm not interested in that. Vow renewals don't interest me, not in the least. I'm like, you said them once. Why are we saying them again? I don't get it. Anywho, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.